everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this cute velvet pumpkin on a matching headband. To make the pumpkin headband you will need a rotary cutter and also a straight edged hard ruler. You don't want a plastic one like this because you will risk cutting through the plastic, so you need a good metal or a thick ruler to run your rotary cutter along. You will need a needle and some thread. I recommend orange thread, but I'm using white today because that's just what I had at hand. I've got my stretch velvet fabric here. Now as you can see, this is only a two-way stretch, so if I pull it this way it has no stretch, it only has stretch in one direction, but this works fine. I've got this piece of dark green bullet. I will give you the measurements when we get to it. A piece of felt. Now I recommend obviously orange. I don't have orange and I have ordered some, but because I'm impatient I wanted to bring you this tutorial, so I do recommend orange, but I'm using this sort of cinnamony colour today because that is the nearest I had. And then I've got this green felt glitter. It's felt at the back and glitter at the front for the leaf of the pumpkin. I thought that it just added a little bit of glitter to the pumpkin, so that is what I chose, but you could use green felt if you didn't have a glitter. I will link everything that I've used in this tutorial today in the description below, so you can check out all of these products. So as you can see, I've already cut my strip for my headband and the strip to make the pumpkin. I've made sure that when I've cut my fabric with my rotary cutter and my metal ruler, that I've cut it so the stretch is going along the lengthways. You don't want the stretch to be going this way, you want to make sure it stretches this way. So when it goes round the child's head, it's got the stretch there. And for size reference, this is the chart that I go by for the headband sizes. So this one I have made to fit a 6 to 12 month old child. So I have cut my strip here to 14 inches in length. If you want to, you can screenshot this chart on the screen now, so you've got it to use in the future. So as I said, this strip here is 14 inches and I have cut it to 2.5 inches wide. And this is to fit a 6 to 12 month old baby, and this is for the headband part. So I'm going to set this strip aside for now. Once you've cut your strip, I don't recommend, especially the pumpkin part, don't pull it straight away because it is a thin velvet and it just curls. We do want it to curl once we've made the headband, so I'll show you that when we get to it. So I've got my needle and thread here now, and what I'm going to do is fold this headband strip in half with the inside of the fabric facing outwards. So you want the velvet finish on the inside and this smooth surface on the outside, so it's inside out, so to speak. And we're going to sew these two ends together. So I'm just lining them up. I'm going to go in through this first corner first, all the way through to the knot, and then back through again, and then just do that a couple of times just to make sure we've got a good starting knot. And then I'm just going to weave in and out, so come up and back through, up, back through, all the way across the length of this fabric. And then pull it all the way through so it cinches together. And then once you've got it pulled tight, keep it pinched with your thumb and finger. Just go through that last end a couple of times. So 1, 2, and on this go, I'm not going to pull it completely tight. I'm going to go through this loop a couple of times, and that will form a knot and hold that in place so I can trim off that excess thread. Now we can turn this back round the correct way. So this is now the headband part done. Now as you can see, if I'd have cut this wider, I did try it originally, I cut this wider to try a head wrap version, but because this is very thin, it just curled, it didn't work. But I thought, you know what, this will make a nice headband anyway, because it matches then the pumpkin part. So once you've got to this part, to make it into more of a headband, you simply just go round and stretch the fabric. So I'm just going round the whole circle of fabric, and as you can see, the sides then curl in naturally and it makes a nice velvet headband ready to attach your pumpkin to. So I'm going to set this aside now and I'm going to show you how to make the pumpkin. So for the pumpkin, I've got this strip here. Again, I don't advise pulling it because it will curl as we did with the headband. We don't want this to curl just yet. It does naturally curl a little bit, it's just the nature of the fabric, but don't worry too much about that. And this strip is cut to 2 inches wide and it is 45 inches in length. And this will make a 2.5 inch size pumpkin when you're finished, roughly. So to start with, taking one end of our strip, you just want to tie a knot and leave a gap in the middle. So just a loose knot, just like that, leaving around sort of 2 inches in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is with this first end, I'm just going to flatten it out a little bit, and I'm going to use some hot glue just to stick that down, just a little bit, just to hold it in place. So this is what you've got now. And then taking this other end now, it starts going in through this circle, so we're going to continue wrapping this around this loop. So you want to keep the velvet facing the outside and then just continue to wrap, but you want to do this loosely. So I'm just pulling this end through. You don't want to pull it really tight, you want to keep it loose. So just literally wrap it round and just let it lay over the fabric. Bring the next piece over. I like to sort of bring it over, overlap it a little bit, hold it in place whilst I thread the rest through that middle. Again, keeping it loose. So this next piece, flattening out the fabric, bringing it over, holding it here while it's still nice and loose and laying in place, and thread that piece through. So it looks like this, and this is what you want to now keep doing. Just keep going round, slightly overlapping the last piece that you wrapped round, flattening out the velvet, making sure the velvet is on the outside and wrapping it loosely. So as you can see, I've come to my last little tail end now. So continuing in the same way to finish it off, flatten out the velvet, overlapping this last piece slightly, bringing it over and tucking that in the middle so it just lays through the bottom like that. So you've now got this sort of donut shape, if you like, and it is around 2.5 inches, which is how big I want it. Now, if you want to make a bigger version of this, there is another way that you can make these, and that is to use those hair donuts for when you make the buns. They're like a sort of like a mesh spongy fabric, and they're a donut shape. You can get really big ones of these for thick hair. You can also obviously use those to make the pumpkins. So what you would do is start in the middle of the hair donut, tuck it in the middle and hot glue it, and then just wrap it around as I did this one. So that is another way that you can make these pumpkins. So with this tail end now, I'm going to add some hot glue and just stick that down to finish it off on the underside. If you end up with a longer tail and it don't quite work out, it ends up at the side, you can just trim it down so that you can finish it off on the underside. Now we're going to make a little centerpiece for our pumpkin and a leaf. So this is the green bullet fabric that I showed you at the start of the video, and this is cut 4 centimeters wide by 8 centimeters in length. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold one end over. So I'm just going to add some hot glue. Be careful not to burn your fingers. Just along this top. And I'm going to fold this top piece over by around sort of just over 1/2 centimetre. And what that does is when you roll it, it just gives a nice finish at the top rather than having the raw edge show. And then I'm going to start rolling, but I'm just going to place some glue along the first end, and that will just hold it in place whilst we start rolling. So this will give me a base now to roll. I'm just going to roll this, not too tight, just loosely. And then on this last edge, pop some hot glue. So it looks like this. And next, taking my piece of glitter felt, I'm going to cut a leaf shape. You can use a template if you have one, but I just cut mine by hand. So I've got my viscose fabric scissors here, and I'm going to cut out a leaf shape by eye. So we've got this leaf shape for our pumpkin. And now we're ready to add these onto our pumpkin. I'm going to place the glue all the way along this leaf because I like it to sort of curve over the pumpkin. I'm going to place it this side. So I'm tucking it in toward the centre and then just laying it over the pumpkin. I'm just going to hold it there to let it take. So it just lays over the pumpkin like that. And now we're ready to add this part. I like to add this part in through the bottom just so I don't risk putting the glue round and squidging it in and having glue showing on the top. So I'm going to turn this upside down now and just open up this middle a little bit. And then I'm going to place hot glue around this piece, around sort of halfway up, and a little bit around the bottom as well. And then I'm going to carefully tuck this in through the bottom and then pull it through the top. And then when I've got it to the height I want it, I'm just going to take my hand and give this a gentle squidge so the fabric then comes into contact with that glue. I did have a little bit of glue on my finger typically, and I got it on my pumpkin, which is what I didn't want to do. It's not too bad. And there is the pumpkin. Isn't that gorgeous? So we're going to attach our pumpkin now to our headband that we made earlier. Now if you wanted, you could just use the nylon headband. You can get orange ones or skin colour ones, whichever you prefer. So you don't have to make these headbands if you don't want to, but I do like the finish of these headbands. Or you can attach these to clips. You could make smaller ones and make cute little piggies. They are gorgeous as piggies. So I will try and talk you through how to do that as well. So this is where we need our felt. As I said at the start of this tutorial, I would recommend orange felt, but I didn't have any. This sort of dark cinnamony colour is the nearest I had. So what I'm going to do is fold this over, and I'm going to freehand cut 2 circles. So to get 2 circles, I fold it over and then just start to cut. You want the circle to be around sort of an inch and a half round. Again, if you've got a template, you might prefer to use a template to cut these, but I just do them free-handedly. So we've got 2 felt circles now. Taken one of the felt circles, I'm going to place this on the underside of my pumpkin. So using my hot glue, I'm going to just go along the middle first so I can line it up. And then I'm going to add the rest of the glue on each side. Now I've got a little loose piece here, so what I'm going to do is just pop a little bit of glue in there and just stick that down. The rest is all okay. And now we're ready to attach this to our headband. I'm going to stick it over the top of where we joined it, where we sewed it together. So making sure you've got it the right way around. So this rolled side will be the inside of the headband, and this velvet side is the outside. I'm going to stick the glue on this join, and then taking my pumpkin, facing it which way I'd like it. So I'm going to have this toward the front, and then placing it on the headband. And then what you do is take the second piece of felt and you sandwich this over the top. At this point, if you wanted to add a clip, you would do it the same way. So add this felt on here, and then I would line a metal hair clip with some orange ribbon, glue that onto my felt piece underneath, and then taking my second piece of orange felt, not brown, I would then glue that on and then sandwich the clip in between. Obviously you'd have to open the clip and stick this inside of the clip to sandwich it in between. So that is how you can add a clip to this. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm not happy using this brown felt, to be honest, because I think it will show. So I'm going to wait until my orange felt arrives in the post to finish off this lovely headband. So what I will do is, when my orange felt come, add a line of glue down the middle, stick it along the headband, and then continue as I did before, lifting the sides, gluing it all down so that the headband is then sandwiched nice and snugly in between the 2 pieces of felt, and then this gives a nice soft finish for baby's head as well. So that is how you make this cute pumpkin headband. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you press the bell button, that will turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.